Hey everybody, welcome back to the channel, and yesterday we got some massive breaking news. It appears that Donald Trump is closer than ever to being criminally indicted. Now, as you folks know, Donald Trump is being criminally investigated in the state of Georgia for trying to overturn the election there. As you may remember, in the wake of the 2020 election, he called top Republican officials in the state and asked them to find him 11,000 votes. Basically he was asking them to commit a crime on his behalf so he would win the state. But in recent weeks, we've gotten a lot of crucial information about this investigation that would suggest that Donald Trump is going to be criminally indicted. However, yesterday we got the biggest piece of news yet. And that news is the foreperson on the Georgia grand jury investigating Donald Trump did an interview with multiple different networks and dropped some bombshells. And it seems that in these interviews, she was hinting at the fact that the jury has recommended Donald Trump for charges. So in one of the major quotes that came from her interviews, she said, "Can you imagine doing this for 8 months and not coming out with a whole list of recommended indictments? It's not a short list. It's not." So basically she's saying, get ready folks, there are a lot of indictments in this investigation. But then she went on to talk about the number of indictments, and this is where Donald Trump kind of comes into play. She indicated that there are more than a dozen people included on the recommended indictment list written up by the grand jury. She also went on to say, "I don't think that there's any giant plot twist coming. I don't think that there's any giant, that's not the way I expected this to go at all moments." And what I think she's saying there is that anything the American public expected to happen probably will. And of course, many have expected Donald Trump to get indicted, Rudy Giuliani to get indicted, and any other Republicans that were involved in the fake elector scheme. And it seems that she's saying, yeah, that's gonna happen. But now, this is the most significant quote that the foreperson gave in all of her interviews today. When speaking about who is on the recommended indictment list, she said there may be some names on that list that you wouldn't expect, but the big name that everyone keeps asking me about, I don't think you will be shocked. I mean, that seems clear as day to me that she's talking about Donald Trump getting indicted. Genuinely, who else could possibly be the big name that she is referencing in this quote? If I had to take a guess, the big name that she's talking about is Donald Trump. But the story continues to get better. She talked about some other very important pieces of information in this investigation, even suggesting that they have more evidence on Donald Trump than the public knows about. Here is a video of the foreperson saying that they have more recorded phone calls of Donald Trump that relate to this investigation that the public has not heard before. Take a look at the clip.
We know that you all heard at least one call that Donald Trump was on during this period.
Yes.
This is the infamous call that the whole world has heard as it was released when he was speaking to Georgia Secretary of State Brad Raffensperger. But in terms of just calls and recordings of calls, are there others of those?
I can tell you I heard other phone calls. I don't think I could name all of them right now if I wanted to. After 75 witnesses in 8 months, it gets hard to keep all your bits straight.
Other calls that Donald Trump was on?
Yes. I'm positive I have heard the president on the phone more than once.
Wow, that means that the grand jury was able to obtain more phone call evidence against Donald Trump. And you heard what she said. She claimed that she has heard Donald Trump on the phone more than once in relation to this investigation. After hearing that clip, I'm wondering what Donald Trump said in these phone calls and if the public will ever be able to hear it. I certainly hope so, because we all heard the first phone call that this investigation is based off of. I wonder how bad the other ones are. But also, this foreperson confirmed that Donald Trump has been at the center of their investigation, and they've talked about him a lot. Take a look at the clip.
Did you recommend charges against Donald Trump?
I really don't want to share something that the judge made a conscious decision not to share. I will tell you that it was a process where we heard his name a lot. We definitely heard a lot about former President Trump, and we definitely discussed him a lot in the room. And I will say that when this list comes out, there are no major plot twists waiting for you.
You know, it's interesting. That just raises more questions of
I know,
of course.
I'm sorry.
No, please do not apologize. I'm very appreciative of your time. When you say there's no plot twists and, people won't be shocked, people are gonna hear that and they're gonna think that means that Donald Trump is definitely on that list.
Yeah, she said that they've definitely talked about him a lot in the room. Now, of course, the foreperson has to be very secretive about what they reveal because the judge has ordered that it stay that way for now, but that's just temporary. When the full report is released to the public, anything can be discussed from any of these grand jurors, and then it will be in the hands of District Attorney Fani Willis, and she will decide whether to indict Donald Trump or not. And of course, as we could have expected, almost immediately after this news dropped, Donald Trump went on an insane conspiracy theory-filled rant on Truth Social. He claimed that the 2020 election was the real crime that took place in Georgia with a racist in reverse DA. Does anybody know what that actually means? But regardless of that strange made-up insult, he went on to say that the DA does nothing but harass me for making 2 absolutely perfect phone calls and for any other fake reason that the Department of Injustice in DC tells her to pursue. You can almost hear the terror in his text. I mean, he is so nervous from the evidence we've seen so far. And if I were Trump and his team, I would be nervous too. If I were Trump, I would be especially nervous because of how thorough the investigation was. The grand jury met for 7 months and heard testimony from 75 different witnesses, many of which were top Trump advisors. Regardless, folks, in my view, it seems that the grand jury recommended charges for Donald Trump, and I think that District Attorney Fani Willis will listen to those recommendations. In my view, the foreperson made it clear. They're getting ready to indict Donald Trump, but of course, we don't know that to be fact yet, so I'm curious as to what you folks think is going to happen. Anyway, folks, that's going to wrap up the video for today. I just needed to talk about this groundbreaking evidence. I really hope you enjoyed, and if you did, please make sure to leave a like, comment, and subscribe. I would really appreciate if you did all of those things. And once again, whether you agree with me or you disagree with me, have a great rest of your day, and I hope to see you folks soon.